Hitman Agent 47 is a terrible film. Or is it? Yes, it very much is, but it was fairly entertaining. If you haven't already watched it, then go watch. Actually, don't watch it. Or do. Hopefully this video will help you make that decision. For a bit of context, I am by no means a film expert, but I am capable just about of forming an opinion. Now, whilst I'm not a film expert, I would say I'm somewhat of a Hitman expert, and pretty big fan of the franchise as a whole, so I'm hoping my expertise in the Hitman games will help guide my opinion of this film. I'm splitting this video into 3 parts: what I thought the film would be like, what the film was like, and then an overall conclusion. This is the first video essay / film review I've ever done in the history of forever, so this might be very messy and terrible, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I was very unsure what to expect from this film, especially since Hitman is all about stealth. A lot of the time in the Hitman games, you'll be waiting around for 15 minutes or more for your target to be in the perfect position for you to take them out. So I was very unsure how that was going to translate into a film, but after watching the trailer,
the normal people,
I soon realised this was just going to be a B-Sec John Wick film. The film begins with a 2-minute exposition dump about the Agent program, which was the program that created Agent 47 and all the other agents. It says that it was shut down and many tried to restart it but couldn't, so the search began for the big brain scientist who knows how to create more agents, and the only way to get to him was to find his daughter. The very first scene is in a nondescript headquarters where people are searching for the scientist's daughter, but suddenly they get hacked. Oh no! So security escort the main man out of the building in a convoy where they trigger Agent 47's traps, which begin tracking their vehicles. An unmanned sniper then nails a headshot of a driver of one of the cars. Now, this movie is very inconsistent. These few gadgets that are shown in this beginning scene are never used again, nor are any other fancy tech that 47 could have had that could have been very useful. Anyway, the main man arrives at his secret hideout and gets in with an iris scanner, which once again, 47 somehow bypasses with his useful tech that we barely ever see. The main man finds 2 dead guys in the room, and his guards are quickly killed as well. And then, we finally see the man himself, Agent 40... Wait, no. That's not him. Wait, it can't be. Wait, what? That is him? You mean the guy with hair? Oh right, that's Agent 47. The guy in the chair is supposed to be a bald-headed Tic Tac man. Oh right, okay sure, I'll take your word for it. Seriously though, there wasn't anyone who looked more like Hitman that could have played him. This actor isn't bad, and it's not his fault he doesn't look like Hitman, but seriously, why not get David Bateson to play Hitman? After all, Hitman's looks are based on David's looks. Anyway, 47 isn't there to kill the big man, but instead also wants to find the scientist's daughter, who we learn is called Katia Van Dies. I'll call her Katia. After threatening the big man with a knife, he tells 47 where she's located. So 47 heads to the exit, but not before the big man tries to arm himself, only to be blown up by 47's mind trap. Now, this is one of the few times the film felt somewhat connected to the games, as you can often rig stuff up to kill your targets, even though the big man wasn't even a target. Anywho, so the big man dies, and then the next scene is basically the house scene from John Wick, or any scene from John Wick for that matter. Just look at this. 47 hidden in the shadows, partially revealed. John Wick hidden in the shadows, partially revealed. I mean, it does the job as a fight scene, but it's far from John Wick, which is obviously what it was going for. Shaky camera, quick cuts, close shots, flashing lights, compared to John Wick, steady camera, long cuts, wide shots, consistent lighting. Roll title card. When I go to Singapore, where we meet the big man, he's in an insane looking tower and obviously sat in an all white room, because what kind of bad guy would he be if he wasn't? And now we're in Germany, we're going global. This is where we put a face to the name and meet Katia. Now, I think this is a personal thing, but Katia just pisses me off. But the problem is, I don't know why. Just her presence really pisses me off. I think it might be her accent, or maybe it's bad acting, I honestly can't tell. Well, she is also looking for the big scientist man in some random library or something, and begins harassing some poor librarian worker about the big scientist man, and then flexes her quick maths.
It's 19,467,062.2% Slavic origin, 49.2% male, 1.2% between the ages of 49 to 50. That's 71,291. That's something, isn't it?
The library worker, severely unimpressed, says she can't help, so Katia just leaves. I also noticed that they just forgot to add audio here. We then learn that Katia has some spidey sensibility and helps someone who's being beaten up in an apartment building, and that's that. We then finally get to see the man himself again, Agent 47, who checks into a hotel and begins searching Berlin for Katia with his super secret spy laptop. Eventually, 47's super special spy laptop locates Katia and her apartment. He gets a call from Diana who lets him know that the big man in the big tower is also now a target. 47 puts on his coat and leaves. We cut back to Katia, who wakes up as her spidey sense has sensed 47 coming to kill her, so she gets up and looks at the map and decides to go to the subway. She also takes this opportunity to get dressed and rip down all her crazy personal information off the wall before leaving, even though 47 was already in her apartment building. 47 then enters the apartment just after Katia has left, and somehow knows exactly where she was going. He even points to it exactly on the map. Honestly, I don't know. Katia makes it into the subway and is approached by Spock, who is called John Smith. I mean, come on, John Smith. Is this some kind of joke? There isn't a more basic name than John Smith. Could they not have tried to come up with something more interesting? Anyway, he tells Katia that he's trying to stop 47 from killing her, and convinces her to trust him, which she does. So they begin to head for John's friend, who will drive them out of there, until 47 turns up and tries to kill Katia with an unsilenced pistol in the middle of a subway. Nicely done, 47. One hell of a silent assassin you are. Some of the fight ensues between John and 47 whilst Katia runs away. They end up falling on top of a moving train and then onto the tracks and are both completely unfazed by her experience, and then start throwing punches again. I don't know what it is about this fight scene, but there's really high motion blur, which is really distracting, especially once you see it. It's very hard to unsee. It's only like for some of the shots as well, which makes me think they're CG, but it looks pretty good for CG if that is the case, except for this one shot. It looks very much like CG, and very bad CG at that, but maybe I'm wrong. Then we get to see some more inconsistencies here, as Katia grabs a weapon to defend herself as she hears someone coming, but it turns out to be John. You'd think she could have sensed who it was, right? But apparently not. So Katia and John get in the car and they drive off, and for some stupid reason, 47 decides now would be a good time to put a silencer on his pistol. Oh yes, silence your pistol once you're outside and away from the very crowded subway station. Makes perfect sense, that. 47 then one-handed shoots the driver of a moving car with a pistol from very, very far down the road, and yet he couldn't hit Katia in the subway station. Fine. Alright, fine. So Katia and John ditch the car and begin walking, and for some reason, 47 doesn't shoot at them, even though he's just behind them. It turns out that John works with the big man in the big tower and has been assigned to protect Katia. John and Katia head towards an embassy to seek refuge from 47, and then for some reason, John decides to shoot into the air just outside the embassy to get himself and Katia arrested and inside the embassy, which is kinda smart, I guess, but there surely could have been a better way to get them inside. Then 47 turns up and just walks through the metal detector with all his weapons without even attempting to conceal them in an attempt to get arrested because, well, I don't know. You'd think, like, in any Hitman game, he would have snuck in wearing a disguise, but no, he got himself arrested. This is also, once again, very unfaithful to the game, as if you get frisked and have weapons, you're as good as dead. There's then this really dumb interrogation scene where 47 tells Mr. Sanders, who works at the embassy, who he is and what he's here to do, and then begins threatening his family for seemingly no reason, because he never does anything about it. Mr. Sanders also brought in 47's sniper rifle and just aimed at him. Just why? Why would he have ever done this? So then 47 kicks the table up and the sniper randomly fires, and 47 moves faster than the speed of a bullet and gets his handcuffs stripped off before absolutely murdering everyone in the room, and then hopefully not killing Mr. Sanders at the end, because, well, we don't know if he did, but I hope not, since Mr. Sanders' character was one of the best actors in the entire film in my opinion, and it would just be sad to know he died. So then the alarms go off and John escapes and collects Katia, whilst for basically the only time in the film, 47 puts on a disguise. Yay, respecting the games, we love to see it. So they all get outside and 47 is trying to snipe them, but keeps getting blocked until eventually he manages to get an insane, if not truly impossible shot and manages to hit Katia but not kill her. Alright, not to sound like a broken record, but how can he hit this shot and not hit the one in the subway? How? Whilst John and Katia were driving, John told Katia that the big scientist man is called Peter Aaron Litvenko and is also Katia's father. This scene also ends very weirdly. It ends very suddenly and just fades to black. It's really odd. So John and Katia end up in a hotel room together, and John begins spitting facts about Peter, and Katia uses it to narrow down Peter's location. But not until 47 busts in and shoots and kills John, and then knocks out Katia. I began to get very confused at this point, because I was rooting for John and Katia, which I really didn't want to do because I strongly dislike Katia. So I began to worry that 47 was the bad guy in the film, and for the next hour of my life, I'll be rooting for the one person I hate most, Katia Van Dies. Turns out I was wrong. After knocking out Katia, 47 ties her up and tells her about her father, Peter, and that he left her in a hole because he wanted her to be free from the agent program. 47 then offers his help, and Katia is fully convinced that 47 is going to help her. The only reason she has to believe him is because he didn't kill her when he could have. Because in the subway, he did try to kill her multiple times. He even shot a sniper at her, which, to be fair, wasn't meant to kill her, but it easily could have done. In his defense, he could have changed his mind and was initially trying to kill her, but eventually decided to keep her alive. I don't know, it's just weird how quickly Katia is convinced in these 2 minutes they talk, after a day or so of 47 actively non-stop trying to kill her. Anyway, Katia asks 47 to untie her, but he leaves the room and tells her to untie herself, before starting up a literal jet engine right behind her. So basically, she has to untie herself whilst in front of a freaking jet engine. I mean, this scene is possibly the most stupid scene in the entire film. Let me talk you through it. So the engine slowly powers up and Katia's chair moves back whilst the engine is getting faster. But then, even though the engine is still getting faster, the chair just stops moving. Now, physics would say that the faster the engine is going and the closer you are to it, the harder you'll be pulled in. Anyway, it gets worse. So in order to untie herself, she puts her hands on her feet, which is fair enough. But then she does a literal handstand on top of the chair, which makes literally no sense whatsoever. This is physically impossible. Later on in the film, a few bad guys are picked up by the same jet engine from much further away with no extra power and are flung straight into it. What is this? Katia escapes into what looks like a hospital or office building, even though there was, for whatever reason, a jet engine in the next room. She finds 47 and he says that she took too long, which becomes a bit of a recurring thing in this film. 47 just crapping on Katia's performance, and he mentions that she's taking drugs, and Katia's line, asking for them back, makes me literally hurt inside. It is just truly awful. It pains me every time I hear it.
Hey, I need them.
47 says Katia needs to embrace who she really is, but she doesn't know. So 47 tells her that she's the same as him, an agent. Her name isn't Katia Van Dies, it's Kata Van Dies. Not sure about that French pronunciation there, but it's fine. Which is French for 90. Whoa! Katia is Agent 90, a superior version of Agent 47. Whoa! So we get a shot of random soldiers entering a warehouse, which I never explained, but we assume they're sent by the big man in the big tower. Katia asks 47 why he shot her with a sniper, and he says he was marking her. Not quite sure what that means, and we never find out. I feel like the story was made up as I went along. I had to come up with some reason to explain why he was actively trying to kill her early in the film. So Katia and 47 begin sneaking around the warehouse, talking very loudly. You can literally hear the echo of their voices.
You process that information to anticipate the threat.
So why the soldiers don't hear them and kill them is beyond me. 47 boots up another jet engine and none of the soldiers notice. 47 then asks Katia to use her sense to locate the soldiers, which she does. But 2 seconds after she says there, literally the least helpful word possible in that situation, the soldiers walk out into the open anyway. Then the next few minutes is just 47 killing soldiers in unnecessary ways, but doing it unnoticed and in what the games would call accident kills. So respect for respecting the games. And then Katia bumps into John. Whoa! John is alive? What? Turns out John got some bulletproof skin upgrade called subdermal titanium body armor, which makes him bulletproof. This whole John situation just feels wrong. He looks very dead when he got shot, and there was lots of blood, which means he didn't have the bulletproof skin then, which means those bullet wounds would have had full effect. And I feel like that many shots and that range in those places, that would have been pretty fatal. I mean, even if you survived, I don't think you'd be able to fight anyone for a couple months at least. Anyway, so John smacks Katya's head against the wall. Not sure why, since he doesn't know she's turned against him. For all he knows, she's running away from 47, but he just assumes he can't be all goody-goody with her again to find out where her father is, so instead just resorts to violence. 47 pops around the corner, and John says he's a big fan of 47 before they start fighting. Again. To be fair, this fight scene is a little better than the last. No, that's too harsh. This fight scene is pretty good in my opinion. The first bit where they're blocking each other's punches and exchanging punches is pretty good, to be honest. So 47 ends up getting his arse handed to him, but John is just too insecure and has to hear 47 say that John is better than him. But it just wasn't worth it, because Katya turns up and shoots and kills John! Psych, she missed. I mean, I thought she was supposed to be the better agent. Psych, she didn't miss. She hit the glass behind John so it would crack because there's a jet engine behind it. Whoa, jet engine again, yeah! So somehow all the soldiers get sucked in, but John just doesn't. He manages to jump out of the way, even though the soldiers are getting sucked in whilst he's still within range of the engine. Oh, I feel like I'm being a bit picky with the physics in this film. I know it's only supposed to entertain, but it's just very frustrating in my opinion. Katya and 47 end up walking by some river, and Katya finally trusts 47 enough to tell him where Peter, the big brain scientist, is, which is Singapore, on the condition that 47 doesn't kill him. And Diana overhears this and is not happy, so calls up Agent 48, who's just got a target, and we see the body in the bathtub with a toaster and a rubber duck. Yay, another onto the games with the duck. Thank you, Phil. Diana asks 48 to go to Singapore as soon as possible. 47 and Katya arrive in Singapore at the airport, and 47 takes the opportunity to teach Katya about avoiding cameras, which is never used later on in the film, which makes the whole sequence feel very unnecessary, but it's a nice nod to the game where you avoid cameras, which I think is the point of it. Katya and 47 have a conversation about 47 and what emotions he feels, love, fear or remorse. The whole thing is just pretty boring, but Katya just cringes me out the whole time. But 47, for someone who's supposed to have no emotion, was pretty well acted. There is then this very unnecessary swimming scene with Katya, which serves literally no purpose whatsoever. Katya then, for some stupid reason, takes 47's silver ballers and dismantles them, because she dismantles things when she gets anxious. Oh, jog on. She's never done this, and will never do this again. So 47 wakes up, some guy's busting in the room, but doesn't have his guns, so has to fight them with his bare hands. I was pretty disappointed by the interaction afterwards. I think there was room for a pretty good joke there, or at least what was said could have been said in a more light-hearted way, but Katya especially was way too serious, which just killed what could have been a good joke. It turns out that the guys knew they were there because Katya got spotted by the camera outside the terminal. God, Katya, you're really letting the team down here. Whilst in the elevator, 47 overhears some kid talking about an inhaler, and whilst leaving the elevator, he trades his knife for the kid's inhaler. It's very stupid though. The trade happens when 47 bumps into the kid whilst they're leaving, but the kid's parents don't leave the elevator, so the kid was just trying to walk out for no reason. This stuff, it really makes no sense whatsoever. So Katya and 47 finally at Venko, but it's just pretty boring, so I won't drag on about what they said, but it was basically about Katya being sad that Litvenko left her, but Litvenko is like, nah, I was just trying to save you, innit? We then find out that 47 and Katya are siblings. Maybe, not sure. Litvenko hinted it, but we never find out for sure. Then it turns out that everyone else there is a freelance assassin wanting to kill 47 and Katya, so they bang bang and then run back to the car. There's in this decent car fight scene, if you will, where 47 is driving around stopping 4 bikes from attacking him. It's pretty good, but it was also at this point I realised that the film uses the same piece of music throughout the entire film. It goes... It's a decent soundtrack, but they could have used it a little less and saved it especially for the epic moments. There's one pretty good moment where Katya's sensibility is actually useful. The building is sealed off and 47 asks Katya which direction to go, left or right. She says go straight ahead, so 47 just drives through the wall which leads to an exit, which was pretty cool. But once again, she says straight ahead, which I assume means just keep driving in a straight line, which would have resulted in 47 driving straight into a concrete wall, but he somehow knew to go straight and then turn so he could drive out, which makes me think he never actually needed Katya's input in the first place. God, maybe I'm really looking into this too deeply, or maybe the film just isn't good. Anyway, we finally get the big action scene from the trailer where the car gets hit with hooks and it gets stuck and all these soldiers zip lining down towards the car, but 47 shoots them all off. And then 47, Katya and Litvenko run away, but Litvenko is shot by a dead soldier who accidentally shoots his gun on the way to the afterlife. So Litvenko tells Katya and 47 to leave him, not sure why, once again. Before they leave, 47 gives Litvenko that kid's inhaler for seemingly no reason at that point. Litvenko is captured and tortured for information by John. 47 monitors this from the neighbouring rooftop. The big man also monitors the interrogation from his office. Realising torturing Litvenko isn't working, the big man leaves his office and security scrambles to protect him, as this is a very rare occurrence. The big man enters the interrogation room where Litvenko is being held and talks to him and requests the information instead of torturing him. You could say he was good cop and John was bad cop. Over the loudspeaker, we hear 47. He's offering a deal. Katya for Litvenko. At first the big man is suspicious, but 47 assures him and he says that Katya is the key to creating more agents, not Litvenko. And that 47 always completes his contract. A helicopter rises up near the window, holding Katya, who has just awoken, to find herself tied to the helicopter controls. She overhears the deal 47 is offering, and in a fit of rage swings the helicopter into the building. Now, I'm still very unsure as to whether Katya knew what 47's whole plan was, or she genuinely in a fit of rage crashed the helicopter. Anyway, after the crash, the big man starts heading for his office for safety. Katya gets out of the helicopter and begins icing all the guards. Now, for the first time, she was pretty cool looking in the scene. Upon watching it again, she really wasn't. The choreographing was truly terrible, and this guard, for example, just randomly shoots his friends, and then Katya somehow teleports behind him and kills him. It's, once again, very confusing and just bad. 47 sneaks into the building undercover as a fireman, which was pretty clever, as earlier he called 995, the fire and ambulance emergency number in Singapore, beforehand so he could sneak in disguised. Yay! Respecting the game mechanics again. Honestly love to see it. John is escorting the big man to his office, only to find 47 sat in there. Then boom, 47 turns around and kills the big man. Psych, John blocks the bullet with his hand, and then 47 and John get into a fight. John ends up getting the better of 47 again, but 47 pulls out his fibre wire, puts it around John's neck, and puts it into some electrical cabling that one of John's punches revealed, which ends up electrocuting John to death and shutting down the whole building's power. I guess John's subdermal titanium body armour must have conducted electricity very well. Maybe. I don't know, electrical circuits aren't my forte. Katya opens the door to the office, which you'd think would have had some level of security on it to stop any random person opening it, to find 47 and John's dead body. The establishing shot of the roof is odd. It's very clearly CGI, but I don't know if it's good or not. I think the fact I can tell means it's bad, but it looks okay. The elevator doors open, and 47 and Katya step out and begin shooting, whilst Litvenko and the big man get on the helicopter. The gunfight that ensues is definitely one of the better ones in the film for sure. It's a little short, but you know what they say, good things come in small packages. The helicopter gets away before 47 and Katya can get to it, but there is one guard left who reaches for a gun, and is gonna shoot Katya while she's distracted by the helicopter flying away, but luckily 47 gets in the way of the shot before they both shoot the guard. This might take the top spot of the most stupid thing to happen in this film. It was just so unnecessary, as 47 shoots the guard after getting shot, which means he could have just shot the guard before the guard shot Katya. So the whole thing just could have been avoided. 47 getting shot also has no impact story-wise whatsoever. It is totally forgotten about within the next 5 seconds. Litvenko looks out of the helicopter at Katya and says that her mother would be proud. The big man says he'll find her. Litvenko agrees and takes out his inhaler, which turns out to be a bomb. He presses it and blows up the helicopter with the big man inside. The first time I watched this, it wasn't very sad at all. But the second time, knowing that Litvenko knew he was about to die, it made me feel kind of sad. The music was pretty sad as well, and for the first time, I felt something for Katya. 47 and Katya watched the remains of the helicopter fall, before 47 calls Diana. He requests confirmation that targets are dead. 47 confirms the big man's dead, and when Diana asks the other target's confirmation, 47 throws the phone off the building. Katya pulls a gun on 47 and accuses him of using her and Litvenko just to kill the big man. 47 denies the accusations and said that it wasn't just to kill the big man, it was to put an end to the agent program once and for all. 47 says that Litvenko understood that the big man would not stop, and Litvenko did what needed to be done. Litvenko and 47 did what they did so Katya could be free. Whilst leaving the roof, 47 says that there will be a group of highly trained operatives coming to the roof to kill them. Katya says he's wrong. There's just one. Boom. The elevator doors open to reveal Agent 47. Wait. Well, that's Agent 48. But it looks like Agent 47. A bald Tic Tac man. It is entirely beyond me as to why they didn't make 47 look like Agent 48 and Agent 48 look like Agent 47. Since Agent 48 looks a lot more like Agent 47 than Agent 47 looks like Agent 47, you know? Anyway, Agent 47 says Diana says hello before raising his guns, and Catherine 47 raise theirs and shoot. The end. Thank the Lord that is over. This was AIDS to do. I haven't finished writing this all yet, but at the moment I'm currently sitting on collective writing time of 2 hours and 41 minutes and 57 seconds with a word count of 5,307, which is the most I've written in a very long time, and I'm not even done yet. So in conclusion, this film wasn't bad, but just decent. It did the job as a film, paid a fair amount of respect to the games, I was sufficiently entertained enough to watch the whole thing through twice, once for the first viewing and another for this review. The physics were truly awful, but this wasn't trying to be a Bill Nye the Science Guy experiment. The music was decent, it wasn't particularly bad, but it wasn't memorable. However, I was very disappointed that Ave Maria. I was very, oh my god, I need to know what that is. Hang on. Ave Maria pronunciation. Ave, alright. No, I didn't like that before, but I'll go with it. However, I was very disappointed that Ave Maria was not used once. Not even in the background of a scene, like in the terminal for example, coming from a radio, just as another nod to the games. The film wasn't actually too bad, it was just confusing, inconsistent, very stupid, but fairly entertaining. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. This is probably a total mess, but I think I gave it my best shot. So if you thought it was really bad and you hate me, then make sure you dislike this video. But otherwise, please leave it a like, you know, give me a bit of support, trying something new, see how it goes, I don't know. Subscribe if you want more of this. Probably won't get any more of this for the next like 8 months or whatever it's been. But when it does come, you're going to be here for that good quality content. But yeah, thanks, bye. Yeah.